The massive starship glided silently through the darkness of space, its crystalline hull reflecting distant starlight. Captain J. Park stood motionless on the bridge of the USS Horizon, his eyes fixed on the approaching alien vessel. The ship's sensors hummed with anticipation, recording every minute detail of the first true contact between humans and the Galactic Confederation. Rolk Vinden, the alien commander, transmitted a signal that crackled through the communication systems. His voice was cold, mechanical, carrying an unmistakable tone of superiority. "Primitive species," the transmission began. "Prepare for standard integration protocols." Jay's hand tightened almost imperceptibly on the command console. His crew, a diverse group of humans selected for their exceptional skills, remained perfectly still. They had trained for this moment their entire lives. The alien ship was unlike anything humans had ever encountered. Its design defied traditional engineering principles: smooth curves that seemed to bend light itself, surfaces that shifted and changed with each passing second. It was beautiful and terrifying in equal measure. In the communication room, Elena Kim monitored the incoming transmissions. Her fingers danced across holographic displays, analyzing every byte of data. Something about the alien communication felt off, a subtle undertone of condescension that made her skin crawl. "Captain," she called out, her voice steady. "Their communication protocol suggests they view us as significantly inferior. They're not expecting resistance." J. Park allowed himself a slight smile. Humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to defy expectations. The alien vessel began scanning the USS Horizon, its advanced sensors probing every inch of the human ship. They expected to find a primitive craft, perhaps with rudimentary weapons and basic navigation systems. Instead, they encountered something entirely unexpected. David Lee, the ship's lead physicist, had spent years developing adaptive technologies that could respond to unknown threats. The ship's exterior was composed of nanomaterials that could reconfigure themselves instantaneously, capable of absorbing and redirecting energy in ways the aliens couldn't comprehend. Rolk Vinden's initial confidence began to waver. The initial scans were returning strange results. The human ship wasn't responding the way their historical databases suggested a primitive species should. "Prepare standard communication sequence," Rolk instructed his bridge crew. "We will demonstrate our technological superiority and outline integration requirements." Little did they know the humans were already 10 steps ahead. Yoon Soo, the ship's communication specialist, had been studying alien language patterns for years. She began crafting a response that would both communicate and confuse, a linguistic dance that would keep the aliens off balance. The bridge of the USS Horizon was a model of controlled tension. Each crew member knew their role, each movement calculated and precise. They weren't just representing a single planet. They were representing an entire species that had survived countless challenges and was ready to face whatever the universe might throw at them. J. Park stepped forward, his posture relaxed but his eyes sharp. "Prepare initial response," he commanded. "Let's show them exactly who they're dealing with." The alien ship continued its scan, completely unaware that every probe was being analyzed, every signal was being dissected and understood. Humanity's first contact would not be a moment of submission, but a declaration of presence. As the two ships hung in the vast emptiness of space, a silent battle of technology and will was already being waged. The Galactic Confederation thought they were approaching a simple first contact scenario. They were about to learn that humans were anything but simple. The universe watched and waited, holding its breath for what would come next. The first shots weren't loud. They were precise, calculated movements that split the silence of space like a surgical knife. Elena Kim watched the alien attack vessels approach. Their design was elegant, hundreds of smaller ships forming a complex battle formation. That looked more like a living organism than a military unit. Each ship moved with a synchronized grace that suggested centuries of advanced tactical training. "Incoming weapons signature," called Michael, the tactical support officer. His fingers danced across holographic displays, tracking multiple attack vectors simultaneously. The Galactic Confederation believed this would be a quick engagement. Their historical databases showed human technology as primitive, their military capabilities limited. They expected total surrender within minutes. They were wrong. The USS Horizon responded with something completely unexpected. Instead of traditional defensive maneuvers, the ship began to transform. Nanomaterials shifted, creating complex geometric patterns that absorbed and redirected incoming energy weapons. Where alien lasers should have destroyed critical systems, they simply disappeared, consumed by the ship's adaptive exterior. Rolk Vinden watched in disbelief. His main screen showed impossible data. Human ships weren't just surviving, they were adapting in real time. Impossible, he muttered, his three-fingered hand gripping the command console. J. Park's voice remained calm. Target their primary communication nodes. Disable, do not destroy. The human strategy was brilliant. They weren't seeking total annihilation, but strategic disruption. Each calculated strike removed the alien fleet's ability to coordinate, turning their complex formation into isolated, vulnerable units. Smaller human support ships, nothing more than modified research vessels, began executing maneuvers that defied traditional space combat logic. They moved like living things, unpredictable and fluid, using gravitational physics in ways the aliens had never conceived. One alien commander later described it as fighting liquid lightning, a description that would become legendary across multiple star systems. Within hours, the Galactic Confederation lost over 60% of their initial attack force, not through destruction, but through systematic neutralization. Their most advanced ships were rendered useless, their complex communication networks shattered. Wow, humans weren't just defending, they were sending a message. David Lee, monitoring the technical aspects of the engagement, couldn't help but smile. Years of research, countless simulations, unexpected breakthrough technologies. Everything was working perfectly. They thought we were weak, he said quietly to Elena. They never understood adaptability. The battle wasn't just about physical combat. It was a demonstration of human potential, the ability to learn, modify, and overcome within moments. As alien ships drifted helplessly, their systems confused and disabled, J. Park made a surprising decision. Offer rescue protocols, he commanded. Save any surviving crews. This single act would become more powerful than any weapon. The Galactic Confederation would realize they weren't just fighting a military force, but an entirely different approach to existence. The first conflict ended not with destruction, but with a display of unexpected mercy and technological superiority. Rolk Vinden's final transmission was simple. Who are you? J. Park's response was equally straightforward. We are humans. And we're just getting started. The universe listened, and something fundamental shifted. Humanity had announced its arrival, not with a roar but with a calculated, intelligent whisper that would echo across galaxies. The initial conflict was over. The real challenge was just beginning. The research facility looked ordinary from the outside, a simple metal structure nestled in the mountains of Antarctica. But inside, something extraordinary was happening. David Lee stood before a complex array of quantum processors, his hands moving carefully across holographic interfaces. Around him, a team of scientists worked with an intensity that bordered on obsession. They weren't just developing technology. They were rewriting the fundamental rules of scientific understanding. The Galactic Confederation's defeat had triggered something unexpected. Instead of fear, humans experienced a collective surge of innovative energy. Every research institution, every university, every technology center began pushing boundaries in ways never seen before. Quantum entanglement became more than a theoretical concept. In David's hands, it became a weapon, a communication tool, a revolutionary method of understanding reality itself. We're not just creating technology, David muttered to Elena, who was reviewing the latest simulation results. We're creating a completely new approach to existence. The breakthrough came unexpectedly. A young researcher named Su Jin noticed a pattern in quantum interactions that everyone else had missed. Her observation transformed how humans understood energy manipulation, creating technologies that made alien systems look like ancient mechanical tools. Within weeks, prototype devices emerged that could predict and neutralize energy weapons before they were fired, communicate across impossible distances instantaneously, adapt and modify their own programming in microseconds. The Galactic Confederation's most advanced technologies became obsolete overnight. J. Park received the first practical demonstration in a secured testing facility. A small device no larger than a human hand could now disable an entire alien battleship systems without firing a single physical weapon. "How is this possible?" he asked David. David's smile was simple. "We stopped thinking like them. We started thinking like us." Alien intelligence networks began picking up strange signals. Human technological progress was happening at a rate that defied all known scientific understanding. What typically took civilizations centuries was happening in months. The research wasn't just military. Medical technologies emerged that could heal previously incurable conditions. Energy production systems that could power entire cities with a fraction of previous resource requirements appeared. Yoon Soo, analyzing communication intercepts, discovered something even more interesting. The Galactic Confederation was becoming afraid, not of human weapons but of human potential. Their databases had no category for a species that could innovate so rapidly, so completely. One alien analyst described humans as technological shapeshifters, a description that would become both respected and feared across multiple star systems. The technological revolution wasn't just about creating better tools. It was about fundamentally reimagining what was possible. Universities around Earth became battlegrounds of innovation. Young researchers competed to push boundaries, their creativity unleashed by the initial conflict. What the Galactic Confederation saw as a potential threat, humans saw as an incredible opportunity. David's team developed a quantum communication network that could transmit information faster than light, something alien scientists had considered impossible for thousands of years. "We don't just accept limitations," David would later say in a historic interview. "We see them as invitations to discover something new." The transformation was complete. Humanity had moved from a potentially conquerable species to a civilization that was rewriting the fundamental understanding of technological progress. The Galactic Confederation watched, uncertain whether to be terrified or impressed. Humans were no longer just another species in the universe. They had become something else entirely, a civilization of innovators, dreamers, and relentless problem solvers, and they were just getting started. Yoon Soo understood something the Galactic Confederation never expected. Humans were masters of psychological complexity. The alien leadership believed warfare was about weapons and technology. They were wrong. Humans fought with something far more powerful: understanding. Intercepted communication logs revealed the first cracks. Alien command structures began experiencing internal doubts. Yoon's team didn't just gather information. They crafted narratives that would slowly destabilize entire civilizations. Small communication shifts started appearing. A message here, a carefully designed transmission there. Each interaction was like a precise surgical strike against alien psychological stability. The Galactic Confederation's communication networks began experiencing strange anomalies. Messages would arrive with subtle emotional undertones that confused their rigid communication protocols. Some transmissions contained complex emotional layers that alien systems couldn't properly process. One alien commander described it as fighting an opponent who speaks a language we can't understand. J. Park and his team weren't just military strategists. They were psychological architects. Their approach was subtle. They didn't seek total destruction. They wanted complete psychological disassembly. Alien intelligence networks discovered human cultural materials, music, art, literature. These weren't just entertainment. They were sophisticated psychological weapons designed to introduce complexity and doubt. A simple human music transmission could create more internal conflict within alien societies than entire military campaigns. The psychological warfare wasn't aggressive. It was intelligent, nuanced, designed to make the Galactic Confederation question their own fundamental beliefs. Alien research teams started experiencing unprecedented challenges. Their most stable communication networks began showing signs of emotional complexity they had never encountered. Some alien societies started experiencing internal philosophical debates. The human approach introduced concepts of individual choice, emotional intelligence, and adaptability that challenged thousands of years of established thinking. David Lee's technological innovations provided the perfect platform. Quantum communication. Networks allowed humans to transmit information in ways that went beyond traditional understanding. An alien philosopher later described human communication as a living, breathing entity that transforms while being transmitted. The psychological impact was devastating. The Galactic Confederation's rigid hierarchical structures began experiencing unprecedented internal challenges. Younger alien generations started questioning established protocols. They became fascinated by human unpredictability, creativity, and emotional depth. Yunsu's team tracked these changes meticulously. They weren't just gathering intelligence. They were carefully designing a new approach to interspecies communication. "We're not fighting," Yun would later explain. "We're introducing complexity." The most powerful weapon wasn't a physical device. It was human imagination. Alien leadership found themselves in an impossible situation. Traditional conflict strategies became useless against an opponent who didn't follow any established rules. Humans introduced concepts that were simultaneously beautiful and terrifying: emotional intelligence, individual creativity, adaptive thinking, philosophical flexibility. The Galactic Confederation realized they were facing something completely unprecedented. A species that could transform psychological landscapes faster than they could adapt. One alien strategist summarized it perfectly. Humans don't just fight. They reimagine conflict itself. The psychological warfare wasn't about destruction. It was about transformation, and humanity was just getting started. The final negotiation happened in a place no one expected, a small neutral space station, floating between contested star systems. Michael Park represented humanity. His presence was calm, almost casual, which terrified the Galactic Confederation. Representatives more than any weapon ever could. Graal Voran, the Supreme Chancellor, realized something fundamental had changed. Humanity wasn't seeking conquest. They were offering a complete reimagining of galactic relationships. "We don't want your territories," Michael said simply. "We want mutual understanding." The alien representatives expected demands. Instead, they received an invitation to collaborate. Humanity's proposal was revolutionary. Instead of traditional territorial agreements, they suggested a new framework of cooperative development. Research exchanges, cultural sharing, technological collaboration, concepts that seemed impossible just months earlier. The transformation wasn't just political, it was philosophical. Human representatives brought something unexpected to the negotiations: art, music, literature. These weren't just cultural artifacts. They were sophisticated communication tools that demonstrated human complexity. Alien delegates found themselves experiencing emotions they couldn't comprehend: empathy, curiosity, wonder. David Lee's technological innovations provided the foundation. Quantum communication networks allowed unprecedented levels of information exchange. Alien societies could suddenly experience human creativity in ways never possible before. The negotiations lasted weeks, but they weren't about winning. They were about understanding. Younger alien generations watched the proceedings with fascination. Humans weren't conquerors. They were partners inviting everyone to imagine something different. Technological exchanges happened simultaneously. Human innovations in medical technology could solve centuries-old challenges for multiple alien civilizations. Alien scientific understanding could help humans explore deeper space mysteries. Yunsu's communication strategies ensured every interaction was nuanced, respectful, transformative. The Galactic Confederation realized they were witnessing something unprecedented. A species that could fight brilliantly but choose cooperation. A civilization that understood power wasn't about control, but about potential. One alien philosopher described humanity as the universe's unexpected teachers. The final agreement wasn't a surrender. It was a new beginning. Humanity would receive equal representation in galactic councils. No special privileges, no extra advantages, just a seat at the table and an opportunity to contribute. Michael Park's final statement became legendary. We're not here to lead. We're here to learn. Together. The transformation affected everything. Scientific research protocols, cultural exchange mechanisms, technological development strategies, diplomatic communication frameworks. Alien societies began experiencing unprecedented growth. Human creativity became a catalyst for innovation across multiple star systems. The rigid Galactic Confederation structure slowly transformed into a more flexible, adaptive network. Individual voices became more important than hierarchical commands. J. Park watched these developments with quiet satisfaction. Humanity hadn't just survived. They had initiated a fundamental reimagining of galactic relationships. Years later, historians would describe this moment as the true beginning of a new galactic era, not defined by any single species, but by collective potential. The universe had changed, and humanity had been the unexpected key.